Hello and welcome to a spot of positivity. Here we are. Yummy. It is tea today. It is! For all of you that want me to have tea. I'm sure there's many of you who want me to have tea. It's cool enough this evening to have a cup of tea, and I'm ever so glad I'm doing it. I'm outside, so if you hear traffic, that's what it is. And if you see laundry, that really is what it is. Yes, we have washing hanging up in our house, in our lives. It is Thought Spot Thursday, and usually at this time I have something wonderful to share. This is going to be a little scattered and all over the place, but I think we might get something good out of it. Last time I started with a bit of a rant. I thought it was my excuse to give a rant. Unfortunately, somebody very dear to me said my rant was lame. Lame, they called it. Lame. How could it be lame? It was my rant. And I don't complain very much. So I thought I would make you, my audience, the actual lucky recipients of the very rare time I'm complaining about something. I do complain about things in my mind. I really try to stop it there, and I really try not to let it fester. I will say that. But last week, if you missed it, my rant was all about plastic bags that rip with sugar or rice in them. And sure, it's a lame rant, but hey, do I not get a chance to have a rant now and again? So I thought it was fine, because actually it's a first world problem. I have enough to eat and I have enough to drink, and we don't have shortages in food, all these lovely things. But if I want to complain like a little bit about the way a plastic bag of rice or sugar is made, I'll do it a little bit, and obviously I get over it, I change it into another bag, all those things. So really, it wasn't a heartbreaking issue. I just wanted to mention it to somebody, some sisters who understand, who can take my side and say, yes, I hear you. So if you were that person, please comment below, because I thought it was a perfectly good rant, and this was my second rant was about people who don't like my rants. So beware, oh you who don't like my rants. I could go on about stuff like grammar or badly used apostrophes and that sort of thing. I will not do that today. Just a minute. Why is my silly finger? There we go. Blocking the camera. Someday I will have a special thing hanging from the ceiling wherever I go, or like attached to my head on some kind of special device, so that I can walk around and the camera will be, oh yeah, it could be like over my head, attached to my head and just hanging there. I'm sure there's things I can buy like that, but I'm sorry, you'll have to be dealing with my hand now and again. Okay, that was a nothing. A long nothing. Now today, as I was thinking, contemplating what kind of thought spot you might like today, I thought about the grapefruit. So here I have for you a beautiful specimen of a grapefruit. And what could I possibly talk about a grapefruit? You might be wondering. Well, I am going to mention that a grapefruit is a symbol to me of a call to wake up and be glad. So unlike an orange, which is sweet of itself, a grapefruit, well, I don't know if this is true, but when I was a kid, and I haven't researched this, my mom said a grapefruit was kind of a cross between a lemon and an orange. So the grapefruit has this kind of like this nip, this kick that wakes you up and says, hey, stop letting yourself get into that rut of self-pity, negativity. Wake up and be thankful. It's even kind of shaped like a sunshine. Look at that. Look at that. It's got the little rays of light coming from it. And what a gorgeous sunny pink color. Look at that. And you can put sugar on it. Now let's see what this grapefruit tastes like. I'm just going to test it in front of you. It might be horrible, right? It's not horrible. It's not horrible. It's very nice. But it has a kick. It says, wake up, listen. It's going to be all right. Believe and be full of joy, and don't let yourself be dragged down by all the people and their troubles. It is true. There's a lot of suffering. But be thankful for what you have. This, I don't want to preach at you, but I'm saying it to myself as much as anyone. And I'll tell you what. I had a few thought patterns I had to really nip in the bud. So the nipping grapefruit thing has happening to me this week. Two things that I realized I did as a thought pattern that I really want to stop doing. So I will tell you what they are. First of all, I realized that I have a tendency to be frightened that if something goes wrong in a particular way, that it's a slippery slope, and it may end up going wrong in that way to a huge degree. Had something happen this week, two things that kind of jarred on me and made me not worried but a little apprehensive. And I realized that even when my children were younger, I used to be a little frightened if, let's say, they got out of their routine and like got up really early or skipped a nap entirely, or this is ridiculous, okay? It sounds really dumb. But I had a little thought those days. I thought, oh my goodness, what if this is the way it's always going to be? Or if they wet their bed or something like that, oh my goodness, are they going to do it for the rest of their lives? And I thought, oh, this week I thought, I'm just doing that again. I don't want to do that. Just because something happened once doesn't mean it's going to go that way. You know, I did mention that a week ago or a week or two ago, just about not letting your mind go in this flow chart of negativity. But for me, this was slightly different from that, because this is more about, I want to be careful that I don't think of everything as a pattern. Like, let's say something has happened twice. That does not mean once, even sometimes once, sometimes twice. It doesn't mean it's going downhill from here and that's it. That horrible thing is gonna happen, or that person will be like that forever, or whatever it is. And so that is my grapefruit moment. Wake up. I just realized it just came to me. Hey, you're doing that. You're believing this is a pattern. Why are you believing it was a pattern? So the thing, I'm not going to say what it was. It doesn't really matter. But the thing I was kind of not worried about, but the thing that I was a little bit concerned about one day, the next day that same thing didn't happen, for one thing. And in fact, a very contrasting, lovely thing happened in along the same subject. I'm sorry, I'm not going to tell you all what it was, but an encouraging thing happened, and I realized that I had let my mind go completely the wrong way. And I thought, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to believe that just because something happened one time that it's going to carry on. Okay, second thing. So that's number one grapefruit moment for me. I've never ever called anything a grapefruit moment until this very moment. But my second grapefruit moment happened a couple hours ago, and I realized that I sometimes like take other people's emotions on board too much. And I talked to a friend of mine and I said, do you not take that on board when, like, your kids, your husband, whatever, is getting emotional or upset? Do you not take that on board and make it like your own? And she said, no, I don't. And I thought, wow, I really need to work on that. Wake up. It's like that spark in the grapefruit, that little thing that jars you out of your thought pattern. You can't just stay thinking the way you're thinking if you have a grapefruit. Just not going to happen. It's like a punch. And so I'm going to work on those two things. Not letting my thoughts go down a negative road. And the other thing is not taking on people's emotions too much that I don't need to take on. Maybe that is like elementary to some of you, but for me, those were 2 moments. Also, I'm going to just mention this thing. As I had a little worry, a little concern that one night, the other thing that helped me, besides not thinking of it going as a pattern, the other thing that I really found helpful was to have in my mind the end product that I believe can happen, and rather than putting before me in my brain the negative thing that could happen, I saw in my imagination what I really wanted to see coming out. And it's kind of a wish, kind of a prayer, and it is much better to dwell on that kind of thing than the negative outcome that could happen. And so, yeah, those are, well, I guess 3 things. Not going down the negative road, instead putting in your mind the positive outcome, dwelling on that more than the negative, and also not taking on someone's emotions so much that it affects you. Doesn't mean we're not concerned for people. It just means not being dragged down by it. So there you go. A little grapefruit moment for you. Wake up, be thankful, be full of joy even when it's hard. There will be moments and lovely things even in the midst of hardship. So thank you for listening to me. Thanks for joining me on a spot of positivity. One more sip of tea? I think so.